Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside.
Well, hello, my babies, my lovelies, my lads, my lords, my dudes, my sugars, my sugar moons, my sugar lilies, my lily flowers, my lily moons. Oh my God, it is a Saturday, love. It is Saturday. What you guys doing? What you guys doing? Hey. What's new out there in outer space? Outer space. Right. Master Nature, what you doing today? It is a Saturday, isn't it? All right. Well, let's figure it out. So, getting back to the cleanup. I'm going to start there again. And then I'm going to go through some of the text messages again. And what I'm looking for here is a few things. I'm looking for some, time gaps. And I'm looking for potential time where somebody would be cleaning up, okay? Now, yes, there's a huge period of time, 8.5 hours, the cleanup could have happened, within 6 hours of that call? Whatever, 6-7 hours, maybe they give it an hour before they call. But I want to go through some stuff, and maybe it'll make sense there at the end. Okay, I love you. Let's check it out. All right, guys. Well, again, the first thing we have to start with is, now this is Detective Payne's sworn affidavit, okay? So again, we have to go back to the latent shoe print. Okay, it was processed. Remember, processed at the scene, diamond-shaped pattern, right? Vance type of assault, right outside Dylan, the prime's bedroom. All right. Now, we got to start there. Now, there could be three possibilities with this. One, this is complete lie. This never happened, and this was put in his affidavit for some reason. But that's number one. This actually would never happen. Number two, the latent shoe print that they found was actually old and from a different time. But that's a little odd, because why would you find a latent shoe print that's blood, like that's old? I don't know, but that's the second possibility, right? That it's an old print. Maybe it's not maybe it wasn't a print that occurred that night. So, yeah, that seems stupid and unlikely that there'd be happen to be an old bloody footprint that was uncovered from some other time. But all right, and the third possibility is that this indeed did happen. That they did find a latent shoe print that was current, which means somebody tried to clean up that footprint. So that's where we got to start. Okay. So remember, that's the foundation, guys. This is coming from the detective himself, that there was a partial cleanup, at least in front of the prime's door, Dylan's door, right? Right. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, now we skip to the judge. Now, this is his order on the text messages, right? So, I know it's a review, but approximately 4 a.m., Dylan, the prime, heard strange noises and crying, right? Coming from the bathroom. Not Xana's door, bathroom. She opened her door and at one point saw a man dressed in black with a ski mask on walking by her bedroom door. She then placed calls and texts to her other roommates to see if they were awake. Well, who's crying in the bathroom? Only the hobbit, Bethany, who resided on the ground floor, answered the call. They spoke once for 24 seconds, during which time Dylan the Prime told her accomplice, the hobbit, she thought she heard something. Maybe not accomplice. I don't know yet. Told the hobbit she thought she heard something. They spoke again. Sorry. Hang on, we're getting there. They spoke again. 1 minute later, for 41 seconds, when Dylan told the hobbit she saw a man in a ski mask leaving the house. Okay. Alright, just making sure. Alright. They then exchanged the following text messages between 422 and 426. Alright, we've seen this, we've seen this, we've seen this. Come to my room, remember? I'm screwed, though. Yeah, I know, but it's better than being alone. Alright, just wanted to show you that real quick. And then this. Alright, guys, now as we go through this, I want you to be thinking about time gaps. And I want you to be thinking about when would be the opportune time to start cleaning up the crime scene, okay? At least we know of by her door, that area, by her door. Don't know how large a spot that is, okay? Why is there only one footprint, not two? I don't know. My guess is that the prime was taking her shoes off, accidentally stepped in blood right outside her door, removed her shoe before entering her room, and I'm not sure what she did with the shoes after that point. That's all part of the cleanup. I have no idea where those shoes are. Nobody's ever said anything about those shoes since. So yeah, there's shoes out there with blood on them. We don't know where they are. Thanks, Moscow, for your wonderful investigation. Anyway, so Dylan's shoes, by the way, I don't know where they ended up. So anyway, I want to go through this. Okay, so right, we got the signal. This is my theory. This is a signal to the Uber driver. Are you still driving? 2:10, yes. 2:30, less than 3 minutes later, he answers her back. Yes, I'm still driving. Again, there's no further communication between these two. This is a signal. Okay? Are you still driving? Yes, I'm still driving. Okay, I know what you mean. That's the signal. There's no other communication here. No follow-up. No, what do you want? What can I do for you? Nothing. This is a signal. He still has Kaylee and Maddie in his car at this point. Yes, he does. He does, because he doesn't pick him up the grub truck till 156, 157, 8, around there. So my guess is he still has the girls right here in his car at 2:10. And still has him when he texts Dylan back. So my guess is they stop. They maybe stop somewhere for a quick minute. I don't know yet. But anyway, girls are with the Uber driver still at this point. Anyway, Maddie calls Bethany. This is an odd one, and notice the time gap. Notice the time gap. Okay, hang on. So, the first time gap, we have 40, there's a 40-minute time gap where we don't know of any communication. 2:13, now guys, we're going to have to go through this. 2:13 to 2:53. There's a time gap where we don't have any communication. 40 minutes. Okay. What is going on between this time period? That's question number one. What's going on within these 40 minutes? Crucial, because this is part of the theory is that Xana and Ethan were unalived already at this point in time. They were already gone. So this 40 minutes is absolutely crucial. Why is there a gap? There's no communication going on whatsoever. We're supposed to believe that everybody was home at this point. That's what we're supposed to believe. All right, we keep going. We don't know. You see that MM calls BF. I don't know about that. I don't know. It just sticks out. We don't know if that's Maddie. That could be a typo. I don't know. Maddie's calling Bethany for some reason at 2:53. The way this is written, again, we don't know. That sticks out like a sore thumb. It occurs 40 minutes when there's a gap here, right? 40 minutes later, Maddie supposedly is calling Bethany. I don't know about that. That's an anomaly. And then we get our next big time gap here between 2:53 and 3:51, right? 58 minutes. 58 minutes, guys. So, let's look at that. All right. 2:53 to 3:51. We got a 58 minute gap here. right? 58 minutes. Silence here. We have no idea what's happening between these times. 40 minutes here. First unalivings, possibly. And then this gap. And again, another long period of time where there's no communications going on whatsoever that we know about. There could be more, but again, this is what they published so far. So 40-minute gap, what's going on? 58, almost an hour now, what's going on? At this point, Dylan creates a new contact within her phone. After this 58-minute jump gap, she creates a new contact in her phone. New contact, DM contact in phone, right? Okay, there you go. So after all this lengthy period of time, all of a sudden, we get Dylan popping up with a new contact. So she's awake. Who's the contact? Right? Remember all those questions? She's up, 3:51, making a new contact. Who is that? Where's Bethany at this point in time? Is Bethany in her room? I don't know. But large gaps here. Again, this is theory that the other two girls were unalived. Definitely be in this time period. See, so round one, and then we got round two. That's what we see here. Okay, do you see that? Just my theory. Round one. This is round one. This is the first part of things. Okay, that's Xana and Ethan. Bam. The second huge gap in time is when the other two things happen. When Kaylee and Maddie are attacked. That's the second gap. Okay, again, everything is over. Everything is pretty much in this theory, everything is over by 4 o'clock in the morning. Everything is done. And then this is where everything is over by 4. This is the second, then this is the actual bullshit narrative that Idaho decided to follow. They decided to follow this 4 a.m. and onward fairy tale. See, the fairy tale then begins. This is where the fairy tale starts at 4 a.m. And that's all coming from the prime suspect, who is, again, Dylan, of course. So they latch onto her fairy tale, and that's when it all goes downhill. So, large periods of time, we don't know what's going on, right? All of a sudden, again, Dylan's active, creating contacts in her phone. 4 a.m. rolls around. Now, we're thinking about a cleanup here, guys. Cleanup. So, 4 o'clock. Okay, I'll show you some more stuff that I'm thinking here. So, now if the Hobbit is unaware of what's going on, she's in her room. Maybe she's listening to a podcast. Maybe she has headphones in. I don't know. It's a possibility. Okay, possibility. But 4:19, right? Bethany spearheads a call to Dylan. So Bethany initiates this call to Dylan. Now, I don't know if Dylan spoke. I don't know if there's a call in between 3:51 and 4:19, which is another large gap. I don't know. 3:51 to 4:19. So, right, again, that's almost what? You're talking what? Almost another 30 minutes. 30 minutes, supposedly, when the crime occurred. So, okay, I got to do that. 3:51 to 4:19. All right. 3:51 to 4:19. Wow. So we got what? A 28-minute gap here. A 28-minute gap here. Where Bethany decides to call Dylan. She just created contact. Now, the state believes the crimes occurred between this time frame. The killer is out of the house at this point. Remember, he's heading towards his car. Didn't park until approximately 4:08. Doesn't park until 4:08. He's out of there by 4:19 at the very latest because he has to get to his car and speed out of there. So let's say he leaves at 4:17. I'll give him 3 minutes to get to his car, which is generous. So now we're at 9 minutes. And that's accurate. Anyway. Yeah. So then we have activity start up again. So there's a 28-minute gap here. I'm not sure what's going on. If the unaliving's already occurred, I'm not sure what this 30 minutes is. This could be this could be the potential start of a cleaning. Possibly, yes, at this time. At least see, you're not going to clean one little spot. We don't know if there's more spots that were attempted to be cleaned up, but at least outside Dylan's door, that was definitely clean. There was cleanup there. Because she doesn't want to incriminate herself, right? I mean, you don't want your own bloody footprint outside your door in your van's shoes, right? So yeah, you got to take care of that. We don't know if there's any other spots in the house where Dylan or her associates could have stepped where they tried to clean up. There's no mention of that in any of the other documents that there was more cleanup. So I don't know, but 30 minutes, if they're only cleaning up that one spot, I could see that taking 30 minutes. I mean, yes, you're going to need bleach. You're going to need, like, sponges and bleach. And you're going to scrub the shit out of that. Multiple times, maybe. I don't know. But you're going to scrub it. So 30 minutes, if you're only cleaning a little spatch of footprint blood outside the prime's door, okay, that may only take you 30 minutes to do that. So that's possible. All right, let's go on. All right. So Bethany calls Dylan. All right. So they talk for at least 53 seconds. That's right. Talk for 53 seconds. Dylan supposedly tells Bethany in this phone call that she heard a noise. Then Dylan calls Xana. 20 seconds later, calls Kaylee. 8 seconds later, she calls Bethany back. Or I'm sorry, she calls Bethany, not back. She calls Bethany. They speak again for 41 seconds. Supposedly in this phone call, the prime tells Bethany she saw somebody dressed in black mask. Then Bethany calls Xana. Dylan calls Maddie. And Bethany calls Maddie. 10 seconds later, I'm sorry. Within that same minute, Bethany calls Ethan within that same minute. 8 seconds later, she's texting Bethany. Okay, no one's answering. I'm really confused. I'm really screwed right now. You know, that kind of thing. Run down here. Blah, blah. This is, the nonsense. Oh, wait. Well, not so much. Let's see here. There's a couple things here. Okay, Bethany calls Maddie. And then she calls her again within a minute. That's sus. Then within that same minute, so she calls Maddie at 4:29, then calls her right again at 4:30. And then within that same minute, she calls Kaylee. And then another minute, she calls Kaylee. Yeah, come on, guys. And then Dylan at 4:30. Then Dylan, almost 2 minutes later, texts Kaylee. All the while, you're thinking to yourself, gee, why don't you just go outside your fucking room and go check on him, right? That's what you're thinking to yourself. Gee, you're only, 10 feet away from the nearest person. Just go outside your room and check. Right, guys? That's what you're thinking, right? Absolutely. Okay. Access Instagram. Okay, then you think it stops there, but it doesn't, because the judge, thank you, judge. So at 4:37, Bethany accessed Instagram. Okay. All right, another significant time gap is 4:37 to 5 a.m. We don't know of any activity that occurs beyond this point. During this point. 4:37 to 5, 23-minute gap. And that's another chunk that we don't know what happens. We know the girls are awake, or we assume the girls are awake. They could have maybe nodded off for 20 minutes, 23 minutes. I doubt it. Because 5 a.m., I don't know, I'm just doubting that. 5 a.m., Dylan is back on her phone at 5 a.m. So, from her last stuff, which occurred at... Okay, so as far as we know, as far as what the records tell us, Dylan's 4:32 was her last message out, her last contact out, whatever. But 5 a.m. rolls around. So as far as we know, there's a period of inactivity on Dylan's phone. As far as we know, what's released to us, 28 minutes here. There's a gap. Could she be sleeping during this time? Possibly. Maybe possibly she passes out. I don't know. But regardless, we don't know what's going on. Again, 28 minutes, is that enough to clean up a footprint by your door with bleach and a bucket and bleach and a rag? Yeah, I would say so. If it's only your footprint that you're trying to clean up. But even that scenario is bizarre, because you'd think there'd be blood spats all around, but I don't know. But who knows? I'm going with what we're told, what the documents tell us. So 28 minutes, yes, plenty of time to clean up that spot. And all the while, guys, you got to keep in mind to yourself here, the lone wolf supposedly left the house at approximately 4:17, 4:18-ish, 4:17. So again, there can be no lone wolf, because the lone wolf is not going to bring in a bucket and bleach and a rag or a sponge, right, in his kill kit. Is he going to have a bucket, a rag, bleach, and a sponge in his kill kit? Steve G. the Mutt, can you answer that fucking question, you dummy? So next it's going to be, he has some mason machinery, and he's going to lay some bricks while he's in there, just brick up the place, just to make it look nicer. Yeah. So yeah, he walks in the house with a bucket, bleach, rag, a sponge to clean up a little spot by Dylan the Prime's door. That's what you're going to have to believe that Brian Koberger acted alone, first of all. Can you believe that? That's what the documents tell us, guys. Anyway, you already know that. That's for all you newbies out there. Oh, by the way, hey, real quick. We're at 6:55, baby. Look at that. Nice jump. Look at that. Beautiful. Wonderful number. Oh, my. That's a pretty number. Oh, my God. That's a pretty goddamn good number, you fucking prick. Thanks, Stanley. Yeah, 6:55. Hey, guys. Hey, if you like, subscribe, guys. If you like this shit, subscribe. It's only going to get better from here on out. I promise you. So, if you just happen upon my stuff, take a chance. Subscribe. Subscribe, guys. All right, 6:55. Look at that beautiful number. Oh, my God. All right, where were we? Yeah, 4:32 to 5 a.m. 28-minute gap. Plenty of time. Clean up. Does Bethany know what's going on? I have no idea, but 28 minutes. Sure. Okay, 5 a.m. rolls around. Okay, so this is the judge. Between approximately 5 a.m. and 6:30, Dylan engaged in various activity on her phone, creating, editing, and deleting images and videos. Her phone activity then stops until 8:05. Okay, that's a really big period of time. So let's hang on. 6:30 a.m. until 8:05 a.m. Now, could she have been sleeping during this period of time? Sure, she could have. She could have slept. this could have been a sleeping point. That would have given her what? Hour and 35 minutes to take a nap. Hour and 35-minute nap, maybe? That's possible. Quite possible. Don't know what the Hobbit's doing during this time period. We don't know. What's Bethany doing? I don't know. Nobody says what Bethany's doing. I have no idea what the Hobbit is doing. At all. Nobody does at this point. So, we know what Dylan's doing. Dylan, well, she's inactive on her phone. We know that. Could she be sleeping? Quite possible. Bethany? Don't know. They leave her out. So if they would put her shit in here, then I can match it up to what Dylan was doing between 6:30 and 8:05 a.m. But they don't. They exclude this part of the equation, so I can't line up anything between these two during this time frame, which is crucial here. Hour and 35 minutes. I would like to know what Bethany is doing and if Dylan is sleeping or not. Because this would give me also plenty of time, as well as Bethany, if I knew what she was doing, plenty of time to go out through the house, clean up what I need to clean up, make sure things the way I want them to look, whatever. I don't know. I don't know if Dylan's sleeping. I don't know what Bethany's doing, so I can't line things up together. Anyway, that's a very big gap. Okay, 8:05 rolls around. All right, I want to show you this first, guys. So 4:37 a.m. This is as far as we know. This is as far as what's been released. All right? 4:37 a.m. This is Bethany's last contact until 7:30. So we have, almost a 3-hour window here. Right? 2 hours and 53 minutes go by here, guys. We don't know what's going on. Is she asleep? Is Bethany asleep? Does she get 2 hours and some... Is this sleeping time? I don't know. Well, I don't think so, because remember, the judge told us that Dylan was up and doing shit between 5 and 6:30. So, if they're in the same room together, I mean, is she sleeping while Dylan's doing whatever she's doing at 5 to 6:30? I don't know. So yeah, 6:30 to 8:05. Right. So Bethany, okay, if Dylan's asleep, I don't know, but Bethany's up. Bethany starts getting on the horn first here at 7:30. Is Bethany's up? So I don't know if she, again, huge time gap. We don't know what's going on. We definitely could clean up a footprint in that time for sure. No doubt. Between the both of us and whoever else is there, sure. 2 others, by the way. 7:30. So 7:30. Again, okay, you remember this, guys, right? This is where she starts spamming her parents. Because it's just a normal Sunday morning. Right, guys? And they still apparently don't know how to leave their rooms and check on their roommates, right, guys? Remember that? Yeah. Hey, this is for all the people who are still curious about what happened in this case and why he took a plea deal and all this. Well, I want you to actually look at the text messaging first before making an assumption that Brian had anything to do with this crime. Because what you're seeing right here is the actual crimes. It's just in text form. And you just don't know what's going on in between those texts now, do you? Now, this whole texting is incriminating beyond belief. Beyond belief. All right? It is. It's just purely incriminating. But anyway. Yeah. Why not call 911? Anyway. So, yeah. We spam our parents. Okay. Dylan wakes up or is now awake at 8:05. She's straight on now. Full on. 2 hours on Instagram, straight. We got the Hobbit again taking photos of God knows what. 9:04, her mom texts her. Yeah. She calls mom. Bethany calls mom at 8:02. And then her mom doesn't call her back. Her mom texts her back an hour later. What the fuck do you want? Yeah, and then it gives a list of what DM's doing, right, from 10 to 10:23. She's got to check her socials. A bogus text, that's not to, I don't think that's a text to Maddie at all. That's a text to somebody else. Yeah. That's a text to somebody else. Molly. No, I don't know who that text is to. Dylan on Instagram, consistently there. Yeah. So you guys get the rest. JM then comes on. DM still on TikTok, yik yak, all that. We already know that. Yeah, and then the bullshit. And then they finally get to the call at 11:56. So the cleanup had to have occurred. Now, it could have occurred in those time gaps I showed you, but the cleanup definitely is done by 7:30. The cleanup is definitely, obviously, right? The cleanup is obviously over by 7:30. That's when the cleanup is definitely officially done. I mean, that's when it's there. That's when there's awareness. That's when the cleanup absolutely has to be over with by 7:30 a.m. in the morning. It's not happening later. It's not happening from 8 all the way up until the phone call. No, it happens sometime between those time gaps I showed you. Definitely. And the cleanup could have actually been all over. Oh, well, I'm guessing it was over much sooner, probably around the 4:30 area, but yeah. So anyway, guys, I wanted to just kind of show that span of time and pockets of time that we don't know about, and keeping in mind the cleanup that happened, and how there can be no lone wolf because of this. Yeah. So I wanted to show you all that. See what you guys thought. This cleanup, what? When did it happen? Who do you think, well, was Bethany involved in the cleanup? I definitely believe Dylan was, for sure. Obviously, it's her footprint. So, yeah. So her and her associates, I don't know. Again, we don't know if there's any other spots that were clean. That's not mentioned anywhere else. So, hope you like that one, guys. I'm going to call that one, who would make the better cleanup artist, Dylan or Bethany? All right. Love you all. We'll talk later. Oh, bye-bye. Bye-bye, lovelies. Oh, my God, lovelies. Bye-bye.